good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining us. Welcome to the latest Pitman Perspective Series webinar, From Help Desk to Hero. Launch your career in cybersecurity, where panelists will be discussing how to unlock your potential in exciting cybersecurity field. I'm Virginia Campbell, career consultant at Pitman Training. Joining me is Rehan Mehan, our marketing and center manager. Now a little bit about Pitman Training. Pitman is one of the world's leading skills training providers for 187 years with over 80 centers globally. And here in Kenya, this is our center. We serve the Eastern Central African region. We train students globally across 9 different categories of in-demand office skills across Microsoft accounting, information technology, software, business, and management, among others. We offer 55 diplomas and 22 individual courses, of which they are backed by 16 global certifications and accreditations, including CPD points. All of this framework of truly blended and flexible learning experience is supported by a strong student support system of our training coaches. This afternoon, I'm honored to introduce to you 3 panelists. First, Mr. Benjamin Kilonzo. Benjamin is an IT and certificate expert with over 15 years of experience. Currently, he's serving as a business development manager at CompTIA. He plays a key role in empowering IT professionals and organizations across East and West Africa, helping them meet demands of the modern tech landscape. Mr. George Njuguna. George is a seasoned cybersecurity professional with over 6 years of experience in the field. Currently, he's the head of information security and GRSC at Silensec and Cyber Range Group. George has a proven track record in emerging threat trends, incident response, and risk management. Our last panelist is Mr. Sydney Javan. Sydney is a distinguished cybersecurity expert with extensive experience in network security, application security, and information security management. Javan is currently a consultant for cybersecurity governance, risk, and compliance. He has successfully led numerous initiatives to fortify organizations on cyber defenses. Now, all our 3 panelists started their career in IT and now working in cybersecurity field. Guys, you are very welcome, and I hope my introduction did you justice. Now, a few household rules. To all our attendees, if you have any questions during the webinar, kindly drop them at the Q&A or the chat function, and we'll try and answer as many of them as possible. To start off, George, correction on that, Javan, could you give us, could you kindly discuss with us the global and the local cybersecurity threats and the increasing demand for cybersecurity professions? What are your thoughts about it? Over to you, Javan.
Thank you very much, Virginia, and thank you, the team. Kindly confirm if I'm audible and let me know by giving me an emoji down there. All right, so I'm very much humble. I believe that this topic is quite timely, and it couldn't be no better time to discuss this rather than now, looking at the whole spectrum of cybersecurity globally, it's like a place where you cannot predict or plan what is supposed to be done. You realize that there are so many issues, especially that come with cybersecurity, ranging from cyber attacks promoted and also advocated by states. We have cyber attacks that are also done by nations and states, and as well as also cyber attacks that have been just initiated by different incentives like cryptocurrency, finances, just to hack, and also data breach and sell. Yeah, so it's a quite huge aspect. Looking at the cases, of course, the latest, you realize that they have all been engineered with the AI tools and also the technology. And all these tunnels down to the basic of how you're going to get there and protect yourself and protect the organizations that you still work for. So why is it also important to Kenya? Kenya today, you will hear how technologically we are doing great, how we have come up with different innovations. Of course, the best being our latest innovations around the government taking everything to the digital platform. All these innovations come with a lot of risks, and cybersecurity is number one. So it does not only communicate to the level of personnel we need, but it just develops, brings down the whole aspect of what to expect in cybersecurity. The other aspect is also the requirements that are done by the regulators in terms of preparing organizations to safeguard themselves, like banks. Right now, also the regulators require that every bank or financial institutions to have dedicated cybersecurity professionals to protect them. So it is something that is doing great. And you realize that all these are giving the cybersecurity landscape a huge milestone. The latest, you also realize that services being online, you are most likely to have attacks like denial of services. Just like the other day, we were having the Sudan, which was termed as Sudan attack, whereby all our government platforms were uh, exercising denial of services. So it spoke a lot. Like today, in case of the payment service providers like Safaricom, in case something goes down because of a cyber attack, how are other areas also affected? So it's not only in terms of how value it is, but it also goes beyond us a lifetime of some of these organizations. And all this also goes down to the level of professionals being prepared through schools, being prepared through choice of courses, and all of them dictating what should be done to meet the cybersecurity requirements, the cybersecurity demand, and also other underpinning environment. So basically that is it, but it's much and much more. Looking at the statistics ranging from the ICT Authority, Kenneth, and what have you, the cybersecurity attacks alone today count losses that are very massive in $1 million. And for that cause, you cannot really keep quiet and say, we are good. So back to you, Virginia.
Thank you, George, for those insights. And correction, Jamra. Now, do you have any statistics on regarding the cyber crimes on various organizations that you can share? Japan, can you hear me?
Oh, thank you, Virginia. Sorry, I was talking. So there are several statistics in terms of different sources. Of course, currently you would look at which one is the most reliable one. But just to speak about the cybersecurity source, like the CIRT, which is also based to validate the information for the same. The last time it was showing around 112 24 million US dollars. And this means that it's either directly or indirectly, and that accounted for like AI-driven attacks, others like ransomware. And actually, those were very, very massive. We also looked at the Seriano reports. I think those deal with specifically financial institutions. They were talking about 971 to a tune of 971,000 million, to 440. That's specifically an investment of 20% of the digital innovation. So we also had some reports that come from the KNPS, that is Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in terms of the ransomware and the damages it has done. It was talking around 199,435 million USD. So all this, you realize that the amount are so massive that they cannot just be ignored. Yes. I use those. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Javan. Very insightful statistics there. Now, my other discussion is towards the opportunity in cybersecurity. And this goes to George. How is the overview of the cybersecurity career landscape in Kenya? And regarding the key roles, like cybersecurity analyst, ethical hacker. Someone has joined and their microphone is on. Kindly mute yourself.
Okay.
Sorry
Thank you
about
so
that.
much. Sorry, can I proceed?
Yes, please go on, George.
Okay. Thank you so much, Virginia, for that particular question. So we've seen that in the field of IT, we usually have what we call our IT trends and technology. So cybersecurity, cloud computing, things to do with machine learning, big data, robotics, and all that. So cybersecurity is one of them. And previously, we never used to have a lot of cybersecurity experts. So nowadays, in terms of the demand, is actually very high because of the rise in terms of the number of cyber attacks. Maybe also to build on what Javad was sharing in terms of the statistics. Even from the Communication Authority, the cybersecurity report they issued, in terms of the malware trends, are growing with 151%. In terms of the advisories of the issues that were reported, are growing with a 51.30%. So we see that there's a great demand in terms of having certified and trained professionals. So we normally have quite a number of roles in the field of security, ranging from the malware analyst, the reverse engineers, even roles like governance, risk and compliance to help with the compliance issues. So when you talk about compliance, we have things like artificial intelligence, and we have the regulation around that. And we require professionals to help organizations to comply with some of the industry standard best practices and all that. So when you talk about the emerging threats and the need for certified and trained professional, the need is actually growing, and not only in Kenya, but also even worldwide, because with world becoming a global village by the use of the connection, you can actually subscribe to a particular company and work remotely.
Thank you for that. Javan, Benjamin, would you like to add anything on that?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say,
Javan?
just to add on what George has said, that cybersecurity roles are really changing in terms of what determines tomorrow's cyber role. For instance, we used to understand a long time ago that as a cybersecurity, you will need to focus on networks, you will need to focus on specific applications. So you may have roles like network security, administrator or engineer, you may have application security, such roles. It really used to make a lot of meaning. Nowadays, cyber has grown to a level that you even have what you call governance roles, whereby you just need a profession who could just focus on ensuring that there is governance in the whole cybersecurity role. You also realize that apart from that, we are having emanating roles as grateful as a cloud security engineer. So you realize that cloud security engineer is a specific role that has come up based on the emergence of cloud-based technologies, and both in the infrastructure and application. So the roles keep on growing. We also have specific professionals that are coming up specifically due to data privacy and data impact regulations in different states. People are coming up with the professionals like data privacy officer. It involves the same. So the growth has gone beyond just the normal determination, and it can only be defined by the nature of the innovations that come up with. And so when entering into cybersecurity, you have to enter with an open mind, knowing, purposing to walk the whole journey. At some point, this particular role may be escalated or changed based on the need of the dictation of the innovations. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's an insight that we need to look into. And what is screaming out is that there is a shortage in the talent in this field. Now, how are we addressing this? Back to you, George.
Okay, so I actually just wanted to add on what Javan was saying. So in cybersecurity, we usually say that we live in an ever-evolving threat landscape. So for example, we are in this webinar talking about some threats like ransomware as a service, malwares, and all that. And then maybe tomorrow, next week, next month, we'll be having other cyber attacks that have actually evolved. So that makes the need of cybersecurity professionals to keep on growing. Nowadays, we are talking about the TIA, that is the Threat Intelligence Analyst. So we are seeing that there's a need for the security professionals to be in the market. So how we respond to that is we need to have to partner with organizations like maybe Pitman Training to acquire trainings and certifications for cybersecurity to be able to equip us and to prepare us for these particular roles. They usually say that opportunity, they usually meet a prepared person. So as a young person or as a person in an IT role looking to transition to cybersecurity, the best way you can be able to prepare or invest in yourself, in your profession, in your career, is to invest in security trainings and certifications. And I think for Pitman, they offer some of the best training and certification, as Virginia and Rihan will later come and to tell us. So the best way to respond to this particular needs is to invest in some of this security training and certification, so that if there are opportunities that will arise, of course, we'll be prepared enough to respond to that and to actually embrace some of those opportunities and to take up those roles.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on. Now we've identified, yes, there is a shortage, and now let's look at the profession. How do we kickstart our career in the IT, basically security professions? Over to you, Benjamin. How can inspiring IT professionals pursue the correct path and certification? And again, how do they bridge? Let's say someone has studied IT theoretically, sorry, cybersecurity theoretically, they have the knowledge, and how do they map those skills with the practical needs in the field?
All right. Thank you. Thank you for those questions, Virginia. I think I will also, whatever I'm going to say may not be very new. My fellow panelists have already introduced certain elements. So let's start with the path. So I represent CompTIA, and CompTIA has got a department we call CompTIA Research. And in CompTIA Research, there is quite a number of reports that are released every so often. And in particular, I would like to just highlight one of the reports called the CompTIA 2024 State of Cybersecurity. And this goes to answer some of the questions that we've seen. For example, there's the question of the path. But before I come to the path, I want to paint a picture of where we are, which will basically be summarizing what my fellow panelists have said. So cybersecurity in itself, what are the objectives? The objectives from the data that has been alluded to are, you want to protect privacy. Javan mentioned that point. We want to protect critical assets, the organizations that are providing these services, the critical assets, the infrastructure needs to be protected. There is GRC, which George has also highlighted. You want to mitigate the risks, right? You want to make sure that if you are an organization providing certain services, for example, banking, all of us are connected to a bank in one way, shape, or form. If you're not banking the traditional way, you're using mobile money. That's also a form of banking. So these entities that are providing those services, they need to demonstrate trust to us so that we can consume those services. So what I'm saying is, where the cybersecurity starts, what are the objectives? It is to handle these aspects of privacy, protecting assets, mitigating risk, minimizing disruption of services, and definitely, as these organizations provide whatever services, they need to demonstrate that we need to trust them. So they assure us of your data is safe, your transactions are safe, and of course, in an organization where everyone has automated and you're relying on certain systems, you need to ensure that productivity is not affected. So continuous service without disruption is one of the things we're looking at. So this is the objectives of cybersecurity. Now, you talked about the pathways, which I would like to address. Now, when you talk about pathways, this is actually the beginning of when you are getting into the cybersecurity world. Yeah, it is a world. So there are various pathways, and each has got very unique pathways. Again, my panelists have highlighted this. Now, from a CompTIA perspective, we work with partners such as Pitman to enlighten different audiences about, if you want cybersecurity, here are your options. So let me just highlight some of those options, which again will be a repetition. So we have a role of cybersecurity or a security analyst, right? This is the role that involves monitoring and analyzing security systems, identifying potential threats, for example. So that's a role by itself. We have another one that I'm sure many people have heard about, penetration tester. All right. Some of us might know it as ethical hacking. So this is a professional that simulates cyber attacks so that you can identify vulnerabilities within your network or systems. All right. So that is a penetration tester. Now, security engineer, the person who's going to focus on designing, implementing, maintaining secure systems and networks. We have another role where you're looking at an architect. We call them security architect. You want to create and implement an organization's overall security strategy, aligning with that company's or entity's goals and regulatory requirements. So think of it as you are the one in charge of a bank or a telco. You need to look at that whole telecom. You need to look at that whole bank. There are branches across different parts of the country and so on. So when we talk about pathways, you need first to have an idea where would you like to go as a cybersecurity professional? Because without having that level of clarity, you cannot end up becoming all these things. So you need to identify based on, things that you might understand, you like. For example, here's something interesting. We are all, one way or another, we have heard about cybercrime, right? So cybercrime, like any other crime, needs to be proven, right? Am I still audible?
Yes, you are. Go on, Benjamin.
Okay. All right. So cybercrime needs to be proven like any other crime. So maybe you like, to uncover things, to investigate, right? So that's again another role. So if that's your kind of thing, you can work towards becoming a digital forensics analyst. Okay, you like to solve puzzles. You want to use the technical skills to uncover and analyze digital evidence related to cybercrime. So I am addressing the aspect of which paths are available. So you need to evaluate and see which area would you like to end up in. And then now that kind of a conversation that you can have with the Pitman team will help you now decide, okay, this is where what I will need to start in line with that. Now, if you've been in the field, of technology, for example, and you want to enter into cybersecurity, still, this is also something that you can do. Again, besides those different areas that I've said, you can consider, and again here I would like to refer to the report, to the report of state of cybersecurity from CompTIA, which is available free for download. One of the aspects that are driving, the cybersecurity concerns is the increasing threats. Again, I think George highlighted that in the beginning. Again, Javan mentioned about the privacy concerns and so on. So there are various angles that cybersecurity is being driven. So there's an increase in the number of cyber criminals. There are privacy concerns. There is generative AI. So the scale of potential attacks, which is an overall threat to business. So if you want to come into cybersecurity, again, I'm saying there's also a bigger scope based on what are these emerging issues that you might want to play. Now, why I bring that about is because we have, when it comes to matters of privacy, when it comes to matters of investigations in cybercrime, you might have knowledge. Maybe someone understands law, so you might fit into that aspect of cybersecurity that has to do with compliance with regulations. If you are someone who's been dealing with data, you might want to consider how can you come in from that perspective of making sure that the data that is kept by the bank, by the telco, the examples I keep using, the data is reliable, is protected from a cybersecurity angle. So that's another way of looking at if you want to enter into cybersecurity. So you have some previous experience in a certain area. It could be tech, it could be non-tech. So what I'm proposing is consider these cybersecurity concerns, which area, coupled with those specializations I highlighted, where does your experience, where is it heavy? And you can now redirect and utilize that same experience in the world of cybersecurity. Now, lastly, you asked about the practical angle, practical skills. Now, this again is one of the areas that that in as much as the threats are increasing, in as much as there is skills required, you need to prove, right? And people will not give you opportunities if you cannot prove that you have the skill. This again is something that my fellow panelist has highlighted greatly, George, regarding getting certified, right? Now, from a CompTIA perspective, we have two ways of looking at this. We want you to learn, and learn by doing. So you have practicals, you have labs, right? That's one. So in the process of learning, you don't just learn the theory, you also get to apply your knowledge through the practical labs. All right. Number two, once you're done with the learning process and you've done the labs, you can now go ahead and do a certification exam and earn the credential. So behind me, you'll see those red things. Those are some of the certifications. So in cybersecurity, we also do have a number of certifications that you can earn based on the areas that I highlighted earlier. So that will be proof to an employer that I have the skills. You cannot wing it. You really have to sit for that exam, and in that exam, you will be basically be given scenarios. You'll be given a lab scenario where you need to do something. You need to perform an activity to prove that you have the knowledge. So those are ways in which you can learn and eventually now prove to a potential employer, or even George mentioned, you can get hired and work online, so you can be a consultant. So how can you be trusted with such a role? It is by proving that I am certified, I have earned this certification, and I can apply my skills. Yeah. Back to you, Virginia.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. That was great. Now, the other challenge we are facing is the workforce. And now I'll pose this question to George and Javin. Would you please highlight the struggles organizations are facing when recruiting for cybersecurity roles? And how does this affect the job seekers who are either inadequately prepared or certified?
All right. Thank you, Virginia. First of all, it's about the intent of the cybersecurity professionals themselves. What does this profession intend to be? What does he do to achieve that? And at the same point, what will be the organization offering? At first, most individuals want to enter cybersecurity because they got this fancy that cybersecurity is great, so they want to feel fancy. It goes beyond that. You have to pull your sleeves and be ready to work. You have to be good on hands-on. And also, if you are not good on hands-on, and you get to an organization that is looking for a cybersecurity who is hands-on, for instance, network security, it's a hands-on work. You really have to deliver. In circumstances that you are not capable to deliver, always ask professionals across globally that, be honest, say, as much as this role sounds great, its magnitude, I cannot undertake, or kindly allow me room to learn as the way. Don't take up on a role that will really does not measure what you can't bite. Organization also want to hire because they are in crisis. When an organization is in crisis, maybe it has been hit by a cyber attack and it's now hiring. They're in panic. They don't know what is best for them. They are easily able to just hire a fanciful cyber professional who will not actually deliver value, and neither will he or she fit the role, the fit into that role. That's where it comes. Overall, it comes also from an organization to what we call cybersecurity strategy. Today, you go ask around, would you please share with us the cybersecurity strategy that you have? All organizations from the US, go to Europe, go to Germany, come to Kenya here. It sounds like you are talking the language they don't understand. You have to define where you want to be, just like today cyber criminals have defined where they want to be. So you also, an organization, need to plan. As an individual, the same who is studying cybersecurity, you need to know that today you're going to take a course of 2 months or 2 years, or irrespective of the time, you need to know where you will be. Don't just begin doing and you firefight everything. That's a candidate for failure. Those bring into the aspect of limiting those problems that they face. Another one which we always say is preparedness. You may have good systems, you may have good employee, you may have a good strategy, but as an organization, how prepared are you in case of this happens? So as a cybersecurity, we always say is the engineer that will never rest. They are always researching, they're always testing themselves, always. In fact, if there is any season that is worst, is when people are resting, like where we are headed. Cybersecurity professionals will have the most hectic parts. So you have to be always ready as an individual and as an organization. And those ones will help you align properly to the same. The final one, which we always say, is the time to start. There is no better time to start in terms of becoming a cybersecurity. Just start. Start, get connected to the right institution, do the right certifications, and from there, you will help yourself and the organization that you'll be working for to really overcome the whole aspect of cybersecurity landscape. Yeah, that's what I will sum it.
Okay, thank you very much. George, your insights on the same?
Okay, thank you so much, Virginia. And maybe just to add on what my colleague Javan has mentioned. So, in terms of the impact that this will have to organization, for example, you find that for organization, you will have increased vulnerabilities because it's about value addition. So the organizations, they are looking at you as a solution provider. So they are bringing you, they are onboarding you as a cybersecurity analyst, a network security system analyst to provide solutions or to address challenges to them. So the impact that we'll have if we have a maybe shortage in terms of trained or professionals in cybersecurity, you will have increased vulnerability in the organization. You look at maybe the teams will be overwhelmed because we have the shortage of the skilled personnel. You'll have inadequate security measures in place as a result of that as well. And then, of course, we'll have potential data breaches because you don't have enough trained or skilled personnel to be able to address to some of these emerging threats and risks. And as of course, the other thing that you might have as an impact to the organization is the financial and reputational damage. Imagine with me if you are an organization, a big organization, and then you have a web defacement or you have an outage, and you've been hit by a DDoS or a ransomware attack, for example. So you will, of course, suffer a financial and a reputational damage. Things to do with compliance failures, because I think, for example, in Kenya, when you get hit by a security breach, you are required to implement by default compliance programs like information security management system. So if you don't have adequate or prepared personnel that are skilled and are matching the skills of the threat actors or the hackers, of course, we'll have a compliance failures or challenges in ensuring that you are compliant to the legal requirements, the regulatory requirements, the statutory requirements that are enshrined to some of the institutions and organizations. And of course, we'll have disruption of operations as an impact or as a result of having maybe not skilled professionals. When it comes to individuals, you will have a limited career growth. So think of it this way: you have a promising career, you have a promising cybersecurity career, and you as an individual, you've not taken the proactive approach of investing in training and certification. So you will have a limited career growth because the roles that you'll be looking at, they won't be aligned to cybersecurity. So another thing is the skills obsolescence. So you'll have, of course, challenges to maybe quickly take up some of the emerging careers and opportunities that comes up with cybersecurity roles and opportunities. Of course, we'll have limited awareness in terms of the potential job seekers, and then finally, you will have stagnation in your career because cybersecurity and even IT in general, unlike other professions like maybe lawyers or professions like maybe banking industry, they really change that much. But for cybersecurity, it is very dynamic. So things keeps on changing, new threats every day, new trends every day. So if you don't invest in training, if you don't invest in some of these trainings and certifications, you will stagnate in terms of your career development. Virginia?
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, George. You've actually covered my next question, which was the consequences of actually not having the skill, addressing the skill gap, both individual and corporate. Thank you so much for that. Now, the other sect we'll be looking at is the positive impact on once someone has attained the cybersecurity skills. So over to you, Javan. Please shed some light on the positive impact on these skills, as well as that addresses the job employability, job security. Everyone at some point dreams of working in a leading organization, either globally or in Kenya. Please address such. Thank you, Javan.
So first of all, for you to be a well-furnished or very well certified cybersecurity, I always tell people, and I'm the mentor of myself, is first of all to make sure that you look for a mentor. Look for a mentor. Once you have the right skills, the right course, look for a mentor. Number one, a mentor will be able to guide you on which points, based on your strength, you will be able to follow up. Develop your area and grow to a level that you cannot be compared to any other profession within that space. Enjoy your space, rise higher beyond what you could manage. That places you on the horizon for any multinational, for the best organization to come for you. You will be approached, you'll be headhunted, and you will be in a position to say yes or no. But until then, you cannot, first of all, just say that you are somewhere down there, you are cybersecurity, but nobody knows you, nobody is mentoring you, and nobody is also advising you on the scope and also the trend. So that's key. Another aspect which we have always enjoyed, once you have the right skills, make sure that they are focused on the whole risk management. Cybersecurity is a risk. You would really need to address it from a strategic point, such a way that you are not just doing a lot of things, but you are doing things that matter. And in this, I say, when you get to be employed by an organization, always get to align your cybersecurity activities and roles to the strategy of that organization. What is their pain point? What is the elephant in the house? Are you able to solve it? That's the only way you can improve on your value and the value of that organization. And also, when you go to the interviews, or maybe you want to change the role or want to be onboarded by another organization, they always base on the achievements that you have had, not what to do, not even to their job description, because cybersecurity is the same. Today in cybersecurity in Kenya, cybersecurity in the US. In fact, I was just checking the ratings. Kenya, we are at number 6 after Germany. So it simply means that the technologies that are used in the US to deal with cyber are still the same here in Kenya. So do that. And cybersecurity, if you are a profession, be able also to align the value in terms of money, because when you talk cybersecurity, it sounds technical, but if you are able to align it to the losses that come with it, and also what you have protected and prevented the organization from losing, that's where now somebody will listen to you. So all these things are come very well in terms of preparing the professionals easy in a good way, and operation of an organization runs smoothly. The most value that is looked into is, first of all, being a good profession. When you are a profession, life becomes easy to handle incidences, and you are also able to be hired, and an organization operation runs smoothly with you on board. So, and which means there are no losses, there are no reputational risk, there are no related aspects of competency. So that's what I would say at that.
Okay, thank you very much, Javin. Benjamin or George, would you like to add anything on that?
Yes. As much as we are focusing, what the panelists have said about, benefits to the organization, benefits to the individual as a result of, you've gained the skills. It still goes back to skills, and I feel like we have focused a lot on the technical skills. There's also another aspect of skills that we should not forget, which is soft skills, because you studying cybersecurity, you getting into whatever role, that will be good. You're gaining those technical skills, but we should not forget the soft skills that will also play a big role in your success in that role. I'm talking about soft skills like problem solving, right? Those are things that you should possess, you should have. Besides working on your these technical skills, you should also now not forget that these other skills also play a big role. Problem solving is one example I have highlighted. Communication, being a good communicator, because it is not just you will do something technical, you will need to write reports, you will need to communicate in that environment. You will need to communicate to clients after you found that there was a threat, and you've done some mitigation. So you need to communicate. So I'm just saying that let's not forget that besides the technical skills, we also have the soft skills which play a role. And I've just highlighted two of them. Yeah. And why I'm highlighting that is because from Pitman, those are also other areas that you help people to skill up. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Benjamin. George, your insight on that as well?
Yeah, I think my fellow panelists, Benjamin and Javan, have done a better job in responding to that. Maybe what I can add on is that, of course, our coexistence is to provide solutions to our societies, to our communities, to our organizations. So the more empowered you are in terms of the skills, the certifications, in terms of the technical skills, the soft skills, you are given an opportunity to be in the decision-making team or the panel. So you are able to spearhead some of the initiatives, some of the changes that you want to see in the industry, in the country, in the community, and you can be included as a key player in that.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Moving on back to Benjamin. What's the role of getting the right certifications?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so this is something that will continue to be there. So earlier I talked about the different pathways one can follow. And with each of those pathways, it is offering an opportunity for someone to play at a level that they can prove competence, that they are comfortable. And I think it was George who mentioned earlier regarding uh, being able to, work as a consultant. You're working online, you're consulting, for a company that is even outside the country. So how they trust you, it comes back to how can you associate your skill how can you prove that you have the skill? Now, I would like to mention something interesting that came out of the report I mentioned earlier, and this is regarding the hiring, the hiring trends when it comes to cybersecurity. Okay, so the hiring trends show two things I can highlight. You can check out later on the report. So we have a section in the report that is addressing pathways for dedicated security personnel. And two things I'd like to highlight is one, hiring, the demonstrated hiring. So between 2023 and 2022, there's a comparison of hiring with demonstration of knowledge and not considering a degree. All right. So this went up. In 2022, the hiring was at 23%, but in 2023, according to the report, it went up to 35%, which is basically, in English, more people, employers focused on hiring people with a demonstration of knowledge through certifications, all right, and not because of the degree, all right? So when it comes to hiring, that is one of the things that stick out. And how was this knowledge, demonstration of knowledge validated? It was through certifications. So it goes without saying that if you go ahead and skill up in a given area in cybersecurity, let me take an example of penetration testing. You can consult, you can be hired by different entities for offering that service, all right? It could be someone creates apps, websites, whatever it is. Your role is to come and validate that it is secure, it is either impenetrable, or it is the threats are well mitigated for that application. So I'm just talking about that role. So now, how do you prove to a potential employer that you can do this job of penetration testing? It is through validating your skill by having a certification, right? So from this example, I'm just saying that for you as a consultant, right, if you decide to follow that path, you will, of course, eventually you'll have done a few jobs here and there, so you can prove that you have the skill, number one. Number two, when it comes down to, there is an ad from a certain telecom, not just in Kenya, anywhere, you will stand out because according to a world-known standard, you possess a certification, as opposed to someone else who is self-taught, and it cannot be proven. It is just that I know, you can't really present yourself that way. So of course, the person who has the certification, who has invested their time spent on that, will be shoulders above the rest. They can prove the skill. So that is the importance of having certifications. Yep.
Thank you very much. Now over to Rehan, who will take us through.
Thank you, Virginia. And I would like to again thank all our panelists for the very valuable time. Guys, we're coming to the end of the webinar. We've got very little time remaining. We have a couple of questions that are coming from our attendees. I'll pose just a few of them in here. George, I'd like to place the first one for you. This one has come from Kalehi, and so Kalehi is asked, why is it so hard to get an opportunity in cybersecurity? All the job vacancies we see require 2 or more years of experience. And I remember we were talking maybe a couple of days ago, and you had mentioned that you were hiring someone within IT. So over to you, George.
Thank you so much, Rihan, and also Kalahi, for that particular question. So the reason as to why it is difficult to get entry-level jobs, because at cybersecurity, you are interested with protecting critical information about the company. So one of the ways we as learners or people that are transitioning from an IT role or from a different role to cybersecurity, what we need to demonstrate to the recruiters is that we can be able to effectively play part in protecting their company assets. So what you need to do, once you obtain maybe necessary trainings and certification from Pitman or even from CompTIA, as Benjamin was rightfully mentioning, what you need to do is to maybe volunteer. So we have a lot of internship opportunities. We have a lot of volunteering opportunities. We have a lot of people in the job market, people like Benjamin, people like Javan, people like myself, that you can actually work with. They can actually mentor you, show you maybe the areas to invest in, and that way you can be able to transition seamlessly. Otherwise it becomes challenging for you to be able to fill an entry level position unless you have been able to invest in yourself, so that you can be able to set yourself apart from the rest of the people that you're competing. Because again, like my fellow panelist Benjamin was mentioning, also in regards to the importance of having certifications. So we'll have a lot of people maybe competing for the same role, but what will set you apart or what will give you an upper hand is having something unique or different that is not with the rest of the people that you're competing with.
I got that. So what you're saying here, George, is that, and again, moving back to what Benjamin mentioned a lot, and also what Jalan said earlier, it's all about visibility on based on certification that you have that basically shows that you as an IT professional have actually trained yourself, you gained the knowledge necessary for the cybersecurity field, right? To be able to help businesses, mitigate the threat of cybersecurity, which, by the way, has become quite high within the last 2023 to 2024. All right, thank you so much. All right, guys, I think that's the time we've had so far for the questions. What we will do is that we'll share your questions that you've shared both within the chat function and the Q&A. We'll share them with our panelists and get the answers back to them via email. What I would actually move us to is to basically, based on the questions that we've received so far, right? How do I start my journey as a cybersecurity professional? So if you're interested in the cybersecurity training or other Pitman training programs that we offer, just within that field, what we offer is everything from cybersecurity short courses to within beginner to intermediate to advanced to expert level to all the way to diplomas around IT security engineer and advanced IT security engineer diplomas with CompTIA, right? In addition to that, Pitman Training is also a CompTIA partner and an exam center where you can come and give your CompTIA exams. So we have shared a booking link on the chat. Please feel free to click on it and book a free career and course consultation with us. I would like to give a huge thank you to all our panelists for taking time from the busy schedules and give the valuable insight to all of our attendees who are in the IT field to basically let us know how to move into this very exciting field. Asante sana for your time and your insights. I know that both myself, Virginia, and our attendees have learned a lot. And to all our attendees, thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much, guys, for attending, and thank you.